with this defense, and I've been kind of coming up with some new ways to run with it a little bit. So, without further ado, let's kind of get into it. Now, the most important thing when you're going into your depth chart, make sure that you got good defensive ends, okay? You're not going to just be able to do this just with any team. Like, I got to get back into the scheme team series, but definitely if you can get your defensive ends to have decent finesse move, power move, you're definitely going to be able to register a lot of sacks because you're not blitzing technically. You're rushing three using the defense that I'm using. So definitely make sure that you do go through your roster and make sure that both defensive ends are, if they're over the 80, that's fine, or close to, that would be fine. But just make sure that both of your defensive ends have that. And then as far as your three tech or one tech in this position, just make sure that he has, from the rush defensive tackle, just make sure he has enough speed, agility, decent awareness would help. And it doesn't have to be perfect because he's just playing a short zone, but just make sure that he has decent zone, okay? So 43 zone for a defensive tackle, that's not too bad, right? For his stats that is given. I mean, I could probably put Kuntz there, but it doesn't matter. But I go with Solomon here because he got the 43 zone. It's not too bad. So he does get a lot of picks, believe it or not. And then the next most important position is your slot corners. The slot corners that I like to use, I like tall guys, 6 foot. They need to be able to jump. They need to have 88 plus agility. Acceleration helps. Awareness is, you're not going to get the best awareness, but if they're anything over 70, definitely that's good. And then change of direction has to be good. I know Hobbs doesn't have the best change of direction, but he has everything else that I look for in that position. So we got Hobbs and Trufant with a good, decent change of direction. And the most important thing, they both got to be able to jump. Okay, they're going to be jumping routes. They're going to be your user, and whichever one you're using, the other one will usually be playing the third. And you want to make sure that you have a guy that can just go up and get the ball. It's going to help you stop a lot of those faster receivers. Because if you can jump and you have decent speed, you're basically faster than the guy that you're defending. That's my logic, right? So other than that, make sure they can tackle too, because they're going to be in the backfield too. Make sure that you have guys that can tackle. So just go back and look at their tackle rating. If I can find it, just bear with me. Yeah, so 61 and 69 on the tackle. You're not going to necessarily get a lot of hit power from corners. Some teams you can, but make sure that you have corners that can tackle. I mean, you do have a package in here where you can just bring safeties in if they're just run spamming. But if they're not run spamming, or if I can force like third and longs and stuff, definitely make sure that you got your slot corners in there. Other than that, that's pretty much going to cover that. Make sure your safeties are decent. You don't want to go in there with no ass safeties, right? So as far as your safeties go, like speed helps, and so I got a 90 speed and a 92 speed safety. So other than that, let's kind of get into some of the stuff that I like to do. I'm going to go up against random offenses with the Yoki roll, and hopefully they just don't goal line me. I have a feeling they're going to, what? I'm going to go random shotgun. Here we go. And I'll show you what I do. So if it's an empty set, usually what I do is with your middle linebacker, this guy right here, if it'll let me get to him. Diablo, see him in this hook zone. I don't play that hook zone if it's empty. Okay, Usually, most empty sets, you might have like a vertical concept where you might have, like, let's say the tight end, he might be doing like a 20-yard up and go crosser or something like that. Vertical hook's going to let that go. Okay, he's going to have too much soft space. So if I'm expecting that versus gun empty, what I like to do is I hit right on the D-pad, hit square on the linebacker, and put him in a mid-read. Now, before I even get to the line, I'm going to tell you one thing that you need to do, is you need to put cloud flats on the field. So shade down, shade up for your cloud flats, and then back both corners off on the outsides. It should look like that. That's going to help you, and it's going to sell it like the short passes are underneath. So other than that, this is going to be like a cover 2 defense with a 3 shell on the top, because you're going to have cover 2 underneath, because your user is going to be the third hook. Even though he's assigned to a blitz, you're going to be able to take any other route away with this user. And you're not going to have to worry too much about anything, you know, as far as trying to help anybody else defend their man. Sometimes you can just kind of press on this guy and then release him. But we're just going to run the play. Optional is to, you know, you're not going to give up anything deep. Now, obviously, CPU is probably going to just do this. Now, if I'm playing against gun tight, usually I will play hard flats. I don't put the mid read on, and I might user this guy. Like, I'll blitz him and do a single contain. Like, I'll put him in the one tech if I'm playing up against gun tight. And then just try to rush in there like that. So if you're playing up against gun tight, that's how you run it. Just kind of show you different variations. If it's a bunch set, usually I treat bunch a little bit different. So we go ahead and still do the back off, make sure we got the clouds on the field. And what I like to do here is I'm going to leave that vert hook there for the bunch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my safety and man him up. So this is another thing that I like to do, is I'll man him up. It's like even if it's a run, you can just loop around. Oop, one sec, let me charge my stick. And keep in mind, I don't know what they're running. Okay, so he's in a spread set, but the tight end is in the box. Because the tight end is in the box, I'm not going to put a mid-read on the field. I'm going to leave that vert hook where he's at. Go ahead, give me my cloud flats. Go ahead and shade individually. Don't back everybody up. Don't do it globally, because if you do it globally, the roll's going to reset. And, you know, you're going to get hiked, and someone's going to be out of position. Okay? So you don't want to do that. Other than that, you know, you can do a Mabel here. If you're not sure, like, you can put a curl flat over there, you can Mabel it. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can do. And then you just blitz off the edge. Just so you can force them to get rid of it before he's even ready. Sometimes I could probably just do a hard flat and then Mabel the curl flat over the top. Situation. Sometimes I might press, like if I feel like I just want to meg him down, I could just leave the soft squat where it is and just press him. And then if I think there's going to be a wall off, which there's not, because where the tight end is, I would prefer to leave a vert hook. So I could contain and then just do the single contain blitz and bring him. Usually I want to bring him, like if there's a tight end and a running back in the box, sometimes I'll take my corner right here or right here, like right outside the edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shoot through the B gap, assuming it's a run. I don't know, it's probably like a little jet sweep. So we just come follow the jet sweep. Like I said, it's decent run defense. like, it's not going to be the best run defense, but it's going to be decent enough for your opponent to be like, okay, I don't want to run anymore, right? So the same thing. See one tight end in the box. See a running back. Sometimes you just want to get out in front of them. Now, if he doesn't do that, you can just play to take away any short routes. So they're not going to throw it deep in practice mode. I'm sorry, but this defense is very stingy. You know, like, it's not going to allow those get-offs. Now, here's a situation that may change. When you have a bunch like this, usually I will take that vert hook and put him in a mid-read. And then just go ahead and just back everybody up, right? That way I don't give up corner routes. And then, like I said, you're going to treat this like a cover 2 underneath or something, right? So you're basically playing this right here. Even though I have him blitzing, only reason I have him blitzing is in case I want to blitz, I can get a turbo boost. Like, I can come in a little bit faster if I'm blitzing. And it's really just per choice. See, he's just going to get rid of it. But other than that, that's really the main stuff that I like to do. Not anything, like, if you feel like they're just killing you with flat routes or something to a specific side where the safety's on, you can always just man that safety up. Or you could put him in a zone, you know, if you want to Mabel it. Like, let's say I want to Mabel this side, I can put a hard flat there and then put the curl flat over the top and Mabel it, right? And then what I can do is I could just come right over here, right behind the defensive tackle. In case it's a run, I can get in the backfield. Okay, so you can still stop the run from it. You just got to be very keen on how the formation is aligned. So like I said, if there's a tight end in the box, you're not going to use a mid-read. You're going to leave the vert hook there, and really your only discretion is what you want to do. Like, if you want to play cloud flats, but I do make sure I back both corners off. And then let's say I think he might be running a route to the flat or something. Sometimes I might take the blitz off and then just man the safety up or something, you know, and I'll line up right here so I can defend the run, you know. So look at that. And that's how you stop the run. Took me a couple of times really trying to figure it out, but once you get it, you understand it. Remember, as long as that tight end's, whether he's a slot or if he's in the box, you can leave that vertical hook there. It's optional, like, unless you're just someone's running a deep crosser on you, you know, like 4 verticals or something like that, then you could use a mid-read, like Wright said. Like, I'll leave it right there and then just back both guys up. Every formation, just make sure you back them up. I can go with the single contain, like if you're worried about a rollout, you put the single contain on, and then you can just turbo off the edge if you feel. Look at there. Throw it right into your zone. So other than that, that's pretty much a lot of what I like to do out of the $326. And you can kind of expand on this. So let's say I come into a situation, I'm going to go into a couple of plays that I do like, versus gun tight. One play that I like coming out of this end is audibling to cover one hole. So if I'm dealing with gun tights, you need real compressed sets. I don't know if they got tight slots. You got some tricky routes. I'll just run this. Alright, so what I like to do is I'll come into cover one robber press, and I'll go ahead and press my receivers down, and I'm going to shade underneath. And you're probably like, what? You know, like, yeah, just shade underneath. And you want to make sure that your user slot is on the better receiver between Kelsey heal, you know, whatever, right? So I'm going to put a single contain, and then just, I always like to contain on the side that the running back's on, in case it's like a play action rollout, you know, that defensive end will kind of get over there. So pressing and shading underneath is very good versus this situation. All you got to do is just hold L1, stay on your guy, and he's not going to go anywhere, and it's pretty much boxed. Okay, so if I deal with tight sets, you will see me do that. Like, I'll come out of this real quick, go to cover one robber, press, contain, and then just re-blitz the defensive end. You can pass commit. I messed that up. Sometimes the defensive assist, you got to be careful with it, because sometimes they'll latch on to the wrong guy, especially against these tight sets. So you have to wait a second before you do it. Make sure you shade underneath, or you could just use her manually to lock them up and force them to run. You will have a lot of people try to run with their quarterbacks when you run this defense, because they're not really going to have anything that they can go to. You know, their check downs, their safety net plays, their high percentage plays, pretty much going to be boxed up. So you will see them starting to try to run with their quarterback more, like that, trying to buy time or something. But usually you should be able to take it off and take it away with your user. And that's pretty much as far as that goes. But other than that, I'm just going to get into some gameplay so that you guys can understand it better. Now, sometimes, like I said, I will use this versus under center formations if I feel like they're passing. If you know they're passing from under center, then it's okay to use. And if it just becomes that they're running heavy sets and stuff like that, and you know they're gashing you, then you need to you need to change it up a little bit, right? But let's try to get into a game. Hopefully I don't get blue screen because I went into practice mode first, but we'll see. If not, you know, you kind of got a variable to look at as far as what I like to do. Probably load up and go into a party chat. Sorry it's so late, fellas. I just woke up. Probably get a couple in before I go get ready for work. Also, in the red zone, you might not use this as much. Because it doesn't roll. It's like inside the 20 it doesn't roll. And sometimes your third is, I got blue screen. I'll do part 2 gameplay.